Today's part of our Business Spotlight program. I'm with Shane Curran from BHA Construction based in Wexford. So over to you, Shane. What is it you do and for how long have you been doing it?
Morning, Kevin. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast. BHA Construction is a multidisciplinary construction company in existence for 40 years. So our primarily what we do is we're in the construction and development of residential units, whether that's housing or apartments, and then also we're a general contractor for schools and fit out, as well as having a fireworks division. So really are a multidisciplinary, but the lion's share of our turnover, the volume work we do is in that residential sector. So currently we have a turnover of close to 50 million euro per year with 130 direct staff. So that's really in a nutshell exactly what BHA do and some of the history of us.
Fantastic. And have you been, and you've been growing over that period. What do you attribute your growth to as a company?
I would imagine that a lot of our growth comes down to the shrewdness of the owners of me. They've obviously been around a long time and seen a lot of the cycles, the boom and bust, and with the foresight of that in the previous crash and the crash before that, they bought up tracts of land in regions that were probably on the outskirts that weren't at that stage feasible to develop, and they sat on that and waited until the time is right, which is now. And now we're reaping the rewards of being able to develop our own land, which primarily with an exit towards social housing, government bodies. So that's really what it is, and our growth has come from a lot of our clients are repeat clients. That that's the client through valuing each other's partnership and service that we deliver. We're not a company there's extensively, so most of our work that we get is either our own development or through those trident partnerships that we've developed over the years.
Fantastic. Okay. So, and again, it's sort of the vision really of the owners to get through the ups and downs of the vagaries of the construction market over the last, 40 years, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and our business has been. Oh, well, we're very much focused on residential now and aggressive in the market to buy more land and keep that kind of keep that pipeline full of new development, and we're building somewhere in the region of 1% of the national housing turnover each year. But we've been, as you've seen those cycles. 8 years ago, we were very heavily involved in fit out of hotels, bars, and restaurants.
Mm.
So we've seen that full cycle, and I think our adaptability to end with the market has weather many storms and come out the other side of that, with growth and further success.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
There's our what would we do different? It's probably a very difficult question to answer. Like if you had your week where you would do things different. Never mind going back, years or decades. Suppose embracing technology earlier would be probably one of the big things. We've invested heavily in our tech stack over the last 18 months, bringing in systems like Procore, on Breadcrumb, moving people from paper and Excel onto a digital platform. Now the collaboration of trades, us as being contractor or developer, and then professional teams like engineers and architects. That's seen, reduce the number of flashpoints where people are working off different or outdated information, and fostered a better culture of collaboration. And people have it gives, and also from a management point of view, it does better visibility. Like we now on our management meetings, we can actually see day to day real like that of where projects are, whether they're on program, off program. So that's probably, and we're in the early stages of that. Quite excited about develop that further and drive better efficiencies and ultimately, make it life easier for both our staff and our subcontractors.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm seeing this across the board. And certainly, well, I suppose AI has always been around, but it's become popular since ChatGPT. But I'm seeing it more and more in the admin in these kind of areas in business that becomes much more efficient, and people get more done in less time, basically. And, you know, yeah, fantastic. And what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
Yeah, I suppose, and definitely in this time of almost full employment, people that drive your projects and people that drive the ability to take on more and more work. You can have all the great growth plans you have and be as ambitious as you want, but if you don't have the right people in the right seats at the right time, and those growth plans will be unfulfilled, or if they are fulfilled, maybe not you don't reflect that in the bottom line of profit because we have a set idea of how we're going to deliver our projects, and that's strong, site teams, strong quantity surveyors and back office staff. And if we don't have the right people, we see kind of our projects suffer from a program point of view and also from a profitability point of view. So getting those right people on the bus, and also it's getting the people now. We've kind of moved on from with the introduction of so much IT and investment in our tech staff. We need this tech staff. We need people that are proficient with the various programs because what you can have is a really good builder, which is great for a one-off or small projects. But we're now building houses at scale, 100 unit schemes. We need people that are able to manage those, all that paperwork, make sure that everyone is connected, and keep an eye on both quality and your program. So it takes a special individual and it takes constant training, but biggest learning is investing in people, and that'll reap the reward at the project delivery stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what we do is as you say, you've invested in the systems, the tech systems, etc., and get the right people sitting in the right seats in the bus, as you're saying. But they will look after the projects, who will look after the customers, who will look after the business owners. It's kind of the virtuous circle. But yeah, fantastic. Um, the other one then, how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I probably am a bad example of how to run your personal life. I have probably a more hectic personal life than I do business life. We have two kids, one at either end of the scale. One is 17, one is just under a year old.
Oh,
And
wow.
then with any other free time, I'm the head coach of Wexford Wanderers men's rugby team. And just to eat into more time, I was the manager of my local hurling and football team this year in Blackwater and Wexford. So I sometimes feel like you come to work for a break, to the stress and pressure that comes. But yeah, so look at it. I'm not somebody that can sit back and put the feet up. I've kind of always on the go. And although sometimes it's a form of torture, dealing with so many people, and obviously they're want to win, and in a kind of setting, it is a great release, and kind of the family gives you your downtime where you're able to enjoy that time. Yeah, I think as important back on myself to be in that dressing room and mixing with younger people and having a laugh and celebrating wins and drowning sorrows when you lose. Great release and a distraction of day-to-day stresses of and any job.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'm a bit like plastic. My youngest daughter presented me with a grandson 15 years ago, so I'm on the second time round. So I got some idea what you're
Yeah.
going through. But again, like that, he's mad into the rugby, Gaelic. Quite a good hurler, but he's more passionate about the rugby.
Very
And
good.
so I'm popular in the the carpools and the
You're a part-time taxi driver as well, you are.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, sort of, and then like the Autumn Internationals, I'll be going up and bringing up one of his buddies as well, and that kind of stuff. Whereas if it was left, if he wasn't there, I'd be sitting back in the chair with a can of beer, sort of thing, and watching the
Okay.
TV. So that's
Which is okay and can be done at times as well.
yeah.
So
So I get out and about, so it's great. It gets me in contact with the next two generations down, and it's a lot of fun, like you say, you know. Um, so just going back, I think you covered some of this, but what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
I suppose the biggest quality you're looking for is you have the best CV, you have the best, qualifications, but really I look for people that if there would be no interview process if you went just on CVs. So it's somebody that's going to able to come in and you feel that you can work alongside these people because you know what, like all had brilliant people that were difficult to manage, difficult to work with people. So it's about that kind of somebody to fit into the culture and it buys into what the business is about. It's going to put their shoulder to the wheel when the time is needed, but also that you're able to sit down, have a coffee with them, and chat about it because it's not all work. I think here it's all about having the right culture, because construction is a stressful business and not everything goes right, and you need to have somebody there that that's going to be. I think it was Steve Jobs said he'd rather have a hole than an asshole, and I think that kind of comes back to that culture thing. And if somebody is pushing in the opposite way, you're better off not with them on. And likewise, if somebody isn't 100% there, but they're showing willing, they get along with people, and they're giving the best that they can, well then you kind of find that you stick with those and people around you, not only managing people around them, also want to kind of see them succeed. So they'll give more time, give more effort, and help them along. So it's really that ability is one thing, cultural fit is the other, and then somebody that's just going to get in, get stuck. Not everything is perfect, and they really have to be able to roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's the old saying, isn't it? Hire for attitude, train for skills if needs be. And, if you've got the right attitude and the culture is good, people are working together, you're going to be so much more productive than if it's the opposite. In fact, it's very hard to operate these days without that. Um, and I suppose just to round off, what are some sort of common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Suppose probably the biggest one for me on a personal level is that there's it's fashionable now that everybody is a boss, that everyone's running the business. And I remember going back in when I was getting started out with my career, reading books by the like of Richard Branson, and everything was that it was fun, and if it's not fun, don't do it. And I can tell you, the majority of days aren't fun, and it's. I think that kind of selling it as a sexy thing isn't preparing people for the reality. Like, and there's tough decisions to make, and you're never going to be popular from it, especially coming up from. I've been in startups a number of times, and somebody's working alongside you and they've given 110% and suddenly they don't fit and suddenly their attitude or circumstances changed and big decisions about people's futures is never fun and I think that it is an awful lot of hard work and your mind is never switched off, so you might leave the office at 6 o'clock, mind is still there, and those are the things that everybody setting out wants to be the boss, or a lot of people won't have an idea about how difficult it is. And I think a lot of the people then don't realize when you make a decision that you haven't taken it lightly, you understand the consequences for both yourself and the person that you're making it for. And maybe you're thinking 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead, and people are only seeing what's in front of you. Yeah, the one big misconception for me is that like it's one thing. It can be fun and there is great rewards. The majority is it's grit and determination, and that self belief is required because definitely you go away and you doubt yourself because people love telling you when you're wrong, and if you don't have self belief and a conviction that you're on the right path, then there's going to be a lot of nights and days wondering about are you on the right path or not. So that's really it for me. Where I think it's just it's hard work.
Yeah. So, and it's grit, determination, and self-belief. You'd see the key qualities needed, and most people.
Probably,
Yeah.
and when you're on the upside, probably a bit of humility is another, because I think everyone has got drunk on their own success at some point, and then come crashing down, and you have to eat a bit of humble pie. But yeah, it's actually probably a bit of humility as well, and like probably the big lesson is like whether it's supplier, subcontractors, or staff. I think trying to do the right thing by people, and to kind of do right by the company, do right by the people. Won't see you far wrong, and should lead to success.
Fantastic, fantastic. Some great stuff in there, Shane. So listen, thanks very much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. And we look forward to getting all this published. So thanks again.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.